Welcome to CMMS Radio, a podcast and general resource for all things CMMS, computerized maintenance management software, from selection to implementation to help you make better choices and have a successful CMMS journey. We'll bring in experts along the way to help us learn more about CMMS, facilities operations, and much more. If you need help with the CMMS project, send a message at CMMSradio.com using the What's on Your Mind link. Suggest a topic, share your CMMS story, or ask questions. Everybody, we've got a great episode planned for you today, and you all know I like low prep, no prep. I want to just have a real conversation, and in this case, it's someone that I know. And this is Katie Sanders. She's an account executive at Eruditio, and I met her last year at the Reliable Plant and Machinery Lubrication Conference and Exhibit out in Orlando, and I just met her again 2 weeks ago today out in Chicago for the exact same event. It was an awesome experience. So we've been working on getting this episode ready to rock, get it recorded for a long, long time. So we're finally here. Katie Sanders, welcome to CMMS Radio.
It's good to be here, Greg. Thanks for finally having me on, and glad we found the time.
Yeah, and it's, the thing about what we do. So for me, it's, CMMS, computerized maintenance management software, and all the little things in the middle, like around maintenance management, maintenance mindset, people, and process. And I think with you see it from a completely different angle because you're dealing with an incredible number of practitioners. You're in on the things that they're doing, how they're trying to level up their own organizations with, whether it's the educational packages. I know Sean and I, we're talking about Sean Eisenhower, have talked a little bit about, like IBL. He's been on the podcast. And you and I, when we were out at Reliable Plant, got to talk a lot more than when we met a year prior. So what I'd like to do, if you're okay with it, I want to just have you tell us, at least briefly, how you got into this space, like when it comes to maintenance and reliability and what you do at Eruditio. Can you give us some background on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I, like you said, am an account executive, so sales, but just a little more intricate. I like to get to know everybody. I like to figure out their personal goals, their pain points within their facility, so on and so forth. But I have been in sales for about 7 years. I started off door-to-door knocking in a solar company. Then I ended up as a closer for that, realized I really like sales, wanted to go above and beyond, started working for a roofing company. And it was just okay. And I was looking for something more, looking for something interesting, looking for something captivating, looking for something meaningful. Hopped on Indeed and saw this crazy name. I was like, Eruditio. How do you? I had no idea how to even say it at first. Nobody ever does. So I was like, this is interesting. Let me do some Googling. Did Googling, found out a little bit. I was like, maintenance and reliability. That I don't know what that means, but it sounds interesting. So I applied to the job, went in, sat down with Sean and a few other people at Eruditio, did the interview, came back, did the interview again. And funny story, Sean went home that night and had a flyer hanging on his door for the roofing company I used to work for. So he said, all right, this must be meant to be. So I took the job there, and he said, this is going to be really good because you're a people person. You are relatable, you care about what you do, you want to be involved in something, but you've never done reliability and maintenance before. So you need to just jump right in and completely immerse yourself in anything. So I started there in January, so it'll be 2 years. Started there in January, and my second month there, I was already at a conference. I just dove headfirst into it. I was at Marcon with University of Tennessee. That was my first conference, and I've just been continuously learning and moving forward with Eruditio ever since.
Yeah, and what's really cool about that for me, so like as an outsider looking in, I see the people that you're around within the organization, but then like when I met you out in Orlando, I used the term to describe you, and I meant this in the most endearing way, that you're a dynamo because you were everywhere, never stopping, helping coordinate things. You try to make a point to talk to everyone that wants to stop by and talk at the booth, out in the hallway, whatever it might be. And that takes a lot, but it also speaks to just, you have kind of this, I don't know what to really call it. That's why I said dynamo. Like you're kind of in it to win it, but that's not just to get ahead. It's more about, like like Sean said, right? A people person,
Yeah.
and you're not, to me, not disingenuous in any way. We can chop it up like for real, especially off the mic, and that's
Yeah.
super fun. But being around maintenance people, so I'm gonna kind of switch us into when we were at Reliable Plant a couple weeks ago,
Hmm.
being around all the maintenance practitioners, whether they're consultants, whether they have an organization, whether they're doing plant turnarounds and all these kinds of things, they're super real,
Yeah.
and they just want to talk about real things, true things. And they're also not at all afraid to call something out and say, no, I don't think that's right. Why
Hmm.
would you say that's right? Let's kind of explore that, and nobody gets too heated. They just really try to collaborate. So what can you tell me so far about that experience, whether it was at Reliable Plant or just overall being around awesome people that are in maintenance and reliability and beyond?
Yeah, so you're right in the aspect of saying that maintenance people are so down to earth and they're not afraid to speak their mind. They're not afraid to question anything. And you know what? I love that. And I think that's why I get along so well with this industry, because I do try, like you said, to figure out people as a whole rather than just their facility. Because, say, they're a reliability engineer and they need this, and this done for their facility. Well, that's great. We can help you do that. But now we also need to know what you want. And they're not afraid to come out and say, yeah, you're right. Like, my facility wants this, but I want this. So, and, I try to figure that out. But they are very down to earth people. And my favorite thing, especially about Reliable Plant, because it's a large conference, but not exuberant. So you get to see some of the same faces you saw that I met last year, and compare where they were last year to where they now are this year, whether they were working with Eruditio or not. I love to follow along that timeline of their journey and their success in the reliability field. It's incredible to me, and I love talking about it with them.
Yeah, that's something that I noticed because this was my second time.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I came away with, among many things, was it seems to get better as you continue to go to these same conferences, and you see the people that you've known before.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow up on projects that they've had, find out what's been going on that's new. But people also, they kind of go deeper and deeper into that overall story. And it's not
Yep.
always about just the org, like you said. It's also about the person, the people, and what they really want. And all that kind of, one of my favorite subjects to kind of talk about is influence. And that's what that really kind of reflects to me. So that's super cool, and it's productive. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
just saying that, to make it sound good. It is the way forward when you're working with people, in order to understand them so that you can help them. And that's how you get what you want as well, because that's why
Yep.
you're in this. You're
Yeah,
trying
exactly.
to create these things that just work for everybody involved, and then it's all good. And
Mm-hmm.
I love that stuff. So another thing, we talked about this when we were there, and I hope you're okay sharing just a little bit. There's something cool going on that you've been working out, that's not working on, I should say, that's not necessarily maintenance related, but it has
Mm-hmm.
to do with a special cause that you're fighting for,
Yep.
and it connects with swimming an incredibly high number of laps in a pool. Can you tell us
Yeah.
just a little bit about that? What's the cause, and
Mm-hmm.
what's that all about? And I'm going to try to get something out about that, because it's
Right.
all around June. So if you could
Yeah.
share.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, a little background story. I lost my mom to cancer about 8 years ago, and it's always been something, super close to my family, super close to everybody. You turn around and everybody knows somebody that's been affected or lost from cancer. So I decided, I have a swimming background. I love swimming. It's something that just relieves a lot of stress, and I feel like everybody should have something like that in their life. And I was on Facebook one day, and up popped this thing that said, hey, if you're interested, the American Cancer Society is doing a challenge to raise money if you swim 10 miles for the cause in the month of June. So I took it upon myself to do this challenge and raise some money. And Greg, thank you for your contribution. And I have managed. I have about 2 miles left to go, so that's pretty. That's pretty awesome. I did swim while we were at Reliable Plant. I dove in one day, and I don't know what happened, but I just kept going, and I swam 76 laps, so over a mile in one sitting, nonstop. I just kept going. And then I popped up. I was like, oh, I gotta make it to networking cocktail hour.
And it's wild because you're focused on doing what you do because you're at the conference, and at the same time you're making that time intentionally, like, all right, I've got a window here, I'm going to do it. And then I remember the day before you had mentioned something about, I'm trying to hit about this number on a daily basis. And then I saw you later and I said, so how'd you do? And you said 76 laps. I think it was 1.14
1.17.
1.17 miles. And I was like, whoa, that's no joke. Plus you did it like right smack in the middle of the day, which, that's pretty cool. So, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you sharing that, because a lot of us need to know that even though we know that we all struggle with a family member, we've had loss, we know people that are in that battle right now. It's good to talk about stuff like that so that people feel a little bit better about it. More so that we can get involved. So I think it's awesome that you're so close to the goal and just barely beyond the halfway mark for the month. So that's good stuff. So definitely like that. So let's switch gears. I want to have you rewind, and we're going to do kind of like a 2-part question.
Okay.
One is, in September 2023, you went to what I think is a great conference, and I couldn't make it, even though it's just down the road a couple hours. Like a knucklehead, I didn't make it. It's called Women in Manufacturing. So I want to have you tell us a little bit about women in manufacturing and the conference itself, like some of the things that you're passionate about there, and just mix into it your own personal passion for women in manufacturing, which I think would actually be women in industry overall. Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to us.
Yeah, absolutely. So last year, well, more than last year, when I first started with Eruditio, and I'm not shy to male-dominated industries. Like I said, I was in solar, I was in roofing, so it's not something out of the ordinary for me. It's something I'm quite used to. But I realized that it is very dominant in this industry. And I was looking for a way to just connect with other women, and I did some research, and I found WIM, just short for Women in Manufacturing. And it's just so incredible because you think of it as a whole. Okay, women in manufacturing can't be that big. It is massive. They have different every state has a chapter. Sometimes Texas has 3 chapters within Texas because it's so large. South Carolina has 1, but it's just everywhere. California has several. And California actually was where the Women in Manufacturing Summit was last year, in San Diego. I have never been on that coast. So flying from South Carolina over to San Diego was a bit of a whirlwind for me, but it was absolutely incredible. And one of my favorite memories from the trip was just coming off the elevator the first day for registration. And instead of hearing, like, no offense, guys, a bunch of men, shooting the shit about whatever, I walked off and I heard a buzz of women. And I had this shiver that just came over my body. And I was like, oh my God, like, there's so many of them. These are my people. And I was just so excited. And it was so incredibly organized. Go women. You each wore a wristband that said which region you were in: north, south, east, west, northeast. Like it was just incredible. And so your color of the ribbon on your wrist depended on what region you were in. Then your name tag, the different color of that depended on your role within the facility. It was absolutely incredible. And I just remember sitting down during all of the talks, all of the seminars, even down to the little nitty-gritties where they had a financial advisor asking you, hey, you probably just went from college to this. or college to married or college to whatever, do you know how to handle your finances? Even you wouldn't even think, but the smallest little thing, up to the first women engineer that heads the Apache helicopters, like absolutely incredibly strong women, women that came from Africa all the way up. Now they're heading their own companies, and they started as a wrench turner or they started in sales, and now they're these incredible engineers that run everything. And it was just so incredible to be around, and nobody was shy to walk up to somebody either they didn't know and just boom start talking. Oh, I see you're from here, what do you do there, or how many women work there, or even if it's nothing about women, it was just so awesome. Nobody was shy, and it like, you can hear me right now, I'm speechless.
Yeah.
I love talking about it. I'm so passionate about it, and it's, to me, it's just incredible. And I have taken so much out of it. When I came back from that conference, I was rejuvenated. I was ready to go. I now participate. I'm a official member of the Women in Manufacturing in the South Carolina chapter. I go to their events. I do lunch and learn sessions with them. I just did one last week about how to turn burnout into brilliance. Like, everybody gets burnt out. Nobody realizes how to flip it around and turn it for the better. And that was something incredible. Like, as a mom, as as a full time worker, as somebody that goes to the gym every morning, goes to the swimming, and like, I do get burnt out and I do get overwhelmed. And it was incredible learning from all these women, also in the business. Hey, there's a special way we can turn this around for the better.
That
That was incredible. And I'm actually going on a tour in a facility with the Women in Manufacturing next month. And then after that tour, I'm hopping over to one of our clients to visit their facility to speak to a young tech woman that works there. She's one of the only women that works there. And I'm going to hook her up with the Women in Manufacturing and set her up with a mentor. So I'm
nice.
super excited to be able to do that for her too.
And that stuff really matters. And
Oh,
anybody
yeah.
that thinks it doesn't, I mean, maybe someday they'll find something that lets them know, yeah, it is. It is. I think all that stuff is really important because women, men as well, they need the mentorship, they need the
Mm-hmm.
stories, they need the real information about what's happening in places that they don't go, just to not only kind of affirm what they're thinking, but to give them ideas about how to think. So
Mm-hmm.
you doing that kind of work is really important. It really is.
Thank you.
I've got so many more friends in the industry now since I've been doing this a couple of years, and this is actually an incredibly common topic amongst us guys. Whether there's a woman around or not, we talk about it all the time, and it's not this making jokes and all this kind of stuff, which is something that you have to deal with it. And a
Yeah.
lot of you, I would say, are really good about it and give us room to be the knuckleheads that we sometimes are when we don't really mean anything bad by it.
Yeah.
But I tell you, we talk about it like things. Someone that we know in common was talking to me at the conference about how his daughter is absolutely intentional about becoming a welder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's important. And it's not
Yep.
just because she's a girl and going to be a woman. It's because we need that anyway.
Yeah.
But the whole idea behind this is, um, we don't think, this is what I've found out so far collectively with all the conversations I've had, that uh, we don't care about that particular part of it that everybody makes such a big deal. We
Yeah.
say, why wouldn't you? But skilled, insightful, intentional, want to make a difference, do
Mhm.
phenomenal work. And I'm sure you've heard this, and this isn't just to get, like brownie points or anything, but women do so much better in so many areas that people just don't want to accept and acknowledge. And we've got a huge skilled trades gap,
Yep.
and all this stuff needs to be talked about because, I mean, I've seen some of the best, most capable, not only practitioners, but business owners, people that run businesses and do things for the industry, and they're
Mhm.
women. And
Yep. Look
beyond,
at Charlie K. Matthews.
there's a great example.
She's incredible.
Another one that I like to talk about is Sanya Mathura. and she's an absolute expert when it comes to not only her domain, but understands the things around them. And, I'm all about it. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because I remember how excited you were to be going to it. And
Yeah,
then
I
you
was
went
trying
to
to
it.
get you in there.
I know. That's on me. That's on me. I got to take that one because next time they do it, it's probably not even going to be in California. So then I'm jumping on planes and all that kind of
It's in
stuff.
Boston this year, and sadly, I will not be able to go to the summit this year because it's at the same time as the SMRP conference in Orlando.
Oh, I have a funny feeling I might see you again then this year.
Well, then we'll have to connect again.
Yeah, SMRP. So let's get some other things in here. Um, in particular, this is kind of a tough question, but just answer it any way you want to. So when it comes to the industry as a whole,
Mhm.
what makes you so passionate about it? Is there any one or a couple of different things about just industry as a whole, maintenance and reliability that you really love?
Yeah, so I think that it's just so, and a lot of people don't want to admit to this, but it is so continuously changing. No, and it's such a in such a weird way. Everything is exactly the same. You still have to do this. You still have to do that. You still have to do this. But you're bringing new people in. Old people are leaving, so it's continuously changing with the times, and I find that so fascinating. And also, I have a weird love for storeroom. I don't know why. A lot of people think it's boring, but I find it incredibly interesting. Maybe it's the mom in me that is like, ooh, let's 5S everything. Let's organize everything. I don't know, but I find it super interesting. And the, honestly, those are it for me. And it's just such an interesting field in general. So yeah.
Yeah. No, there's no wrong answers with most of this stuff because those are the unique insights that kind of add value for somebody, right? Like
Mhm.
people are like, well, why do you do the podcast? And why do you
Yeah.
have so many different types of guests? And I say, well, if it touches maintenance or it's got some value, I'm going to have them on. And if it helps one person to think differently, come up with a new idea, or maybe reaffirm something that they've been thinking, anything like that, then I say it's good and it's helpful. And the things you're talking about, when, like, if you're passionate about storeroom, there are a lot of people all around the globe that would never, under any circumstances, understand or know that they need to try to put those things together into how
Yep.
their world works. So, not only does it play, but it's oftentimes one of the, like, it might be an artery to the heartbeat of the organization that
Hmm.
helps the community and the world around it do this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah. A lot
So,
of people don't understand that just a few tweaks within your storeroom will save your entire organization tons of money.
and it's true. It's
Yeah.
true. Like William Sloan.
Yep.
He's, I mean, top to bottom, left to right,
Hmm.
wake him up out of a cold sleep and just throw him an MRO question.
Yeah.
It's out of the park for
Yeah.
sure. And if it's not, he's gonna go, wait a minute, tell me that again.
Yeah. Let
You
me
mean
find this
this, or you
out
mean
for you.
this, or you mean this? And he's just all about it.
Hmm.
Awesome to finally meet him in person, by the way,
Gosh,
when
yeah, he's
we were
incredibly
at the booth.
knowledgeable.
Yeah, he's cool. He's so cool. And knowledgeable. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Now, obviously this is about CMMS, so anybody out there going, well, why are we talking about storeroom?
Yep.
And that's a critical component of leveraging your CMMS platform at some point, maybe not right away, where you want to start tracking and manage these things, getting them dialed in, because it all connects to what you're really doing. It connects to the assets, it connects to the products that you produce, and so on. So that's really important.
Yep.
uh, what do you ever encounter projects when you're on the front lines from a sales perspective, business development perspective, or even at these conferences, where the CMMS comes up, not a particular product, but like where somebody's saying, hey, we've got the CMMS, we're struggling with inventory management, we don't know how to dial it in. Does any of that kind of stuff come in? Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So, yeah, this actually happens all the time. um, people, well, I was on my way here. I was thinking about a call that I had in May at Leading Reliability. Uh, a client was about ready to throw his computer out the window. Th- Greg, they had all of their stuff still on paper with binder rings around it. So That was fun. But yeah, we do. We just had a call. Gosh, last week, 2 weeks ago, all about how to implement, like, what do I need to do, and all of that. And you explain to them, all right, well, it starts with your hierarchy, then it starts with your bill of materials, then you branch off into your storeroom, then you see storeroom, you branch off into your storeroom, you branch off into your planning, and how you have to approach it so specific. Everything has to be done in order. And your
Yeah.
CMMS is so important because that's where everything is being recorded. That's where all your information is going to be, from the very smallest asset within your hierarchy to every single piece within that, including the manufacturer warranty. You need to know everything, and that's where your hours are going to be held. That's where everything is going to be. It's so important to have a key working CMMS system. It's one of the most important parts of an organization. You have to have it done. That's just it. You have to have it done.
Yeah.
It needs to be working.
Well, it's like trying to do. It's almost like trying to do all of your accounting without accounting software, without
Yeah,
a
exactly.
solution. And there's a time when you can do that without software.
Mhm.
In the beginning, things aren't quite as unwieldy, and then you start to grow and add people and
Yep.
processes. And now, a couple of years later, you're like, all right, yeah, this is too much pain. We need to know
Exactly.
this information. And
You
now
have
you're
you have
buried.
you go to do an FMEA on something, and you don't have any information because your CMS is not updated. You never put anything in there. Nobody knows how many hours were spent on this. Nobody knows the warranty on this. And then it's just a mess, and you have to start all over.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would add to that, when engaging with someone, like on the first call on
Mm.
discovery, try not to make the assumptions you're already pre-programmed to make, because you've done this so much. Give those individuals that opportunity to
Yep.
really let you know who and what they are, and don't wait for your turn to speak. Take good notes, listen with empathy, and be intentional about how you're going to help them, because sometimes maybe they have a CMMS, they don't need to switch to a different one. Maybe they just haven't had the people stick that were the champions, and then you guys could maybe come in and say, hey, let's look at this first. You know what,
Yep.
you're okay, you just need to do this and this. So
Some
there's just so
tweaking.
much that can come
You
out of
said
it.
you said the key word there. They just didn't have the champion. So a lot of times that's all it is. You just have that one person or that group of people that just sets everything so perfectly in order, and it just flows. Well, most of the time it just flows after that. But
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes that's all it is. That's all it is. Sometimes you're right, they don't need a complete revamp of everything. Sometimes they just need some tweaking, or hey, maybe they have everything set completely in order, but they have a new team who just needs to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
You're right. Like I hop on a call with them, and like I said earlier, I love to get to know what the facility needs and what they need. I want to know
It-
what they want to get out of it. Like, I'm not going to come in, like we said earlier, I'm a real person. I'm not going to come in. I'm not going to solar sales you. I'm not going to upsell you on a new roof when all you need is a repair.
yeah.
I'm going to sit down and figure out how we can actually help what you want us to help with,
Yeah.
not make it a massive thing if it doesn't need to be a massive thing.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, folks, that a lot of us, when at least this was my experience at the conference recently at Reliable Plant, the one we did out in Schaumburg, Chicago, if you don't know
Oh,
what
yeah.
Schaumburg is. But the discussions about, everybody's trying to do good stuff, everybody's got solutions and
Mhm.
consulting and all this stuff to sell or deliver or whatever it might be, but there's kind of a fine line that,
Yep.
everybody's trying to kind of dance along it, and make it about the customer, make it about that problem, and then everything else is kind of fair game, because everybody's on that same page, getting that win-win that I'm all about, the elusive win-win. You got to chase it forever.
Yeah.
um, so next question is, are there any current trends in this big bad world of maintenance management, and reliability that you're excited about? And conversely, any that you're worried about?
Ha. Actually, the same thing is the answer to both of those. And that would be AI, like the ever growing technology. It's incredible, it's super useful, and at the same time, it's also scary. obviously people still need their jobs. How
Hmm.
much is this going to do? How much is this going to take over? So it does go both ways for me, and that's what I'm excited about and what I'm scared about at the same time.
Yeah, it's fair because we hear arguments for both, concerns for both, excitedness about both. I could see how in some ways it would be exciting that we could, now I'm going to frame this as we could move a body from
Yep.
here to here, or reduce these things from their workload, maybe with a cobot and AI and all
Mhm.
those things working together. But the AI thing is exciting and scary. And for me, it's more about, are we really leveraging it? Is it really AI, or is it just scratching the surface? Because we're seeing a lot of that. I've got an
Yep.
episode coming up where I'm going to be recording with someone you probably know in the industry, and we're going to talk about that very specific subject. And
Cool.
I believe the title of that episode, I'm not going to say it because I don't want anybody to snag it. So it's going to be a cool one, and it'll be a month or two before it comes out. But that's a great one that you called out, and it
Well,
was
I'm
really,
excited for
really
that.
popular. What's that?
Yeah. I'm excited to. I'm going to listen to that episode. But I think the AI, it can be used for numerous different resources. It could, hey, in a terribly unsafe situation, send in your robot thingy. Hey, you are having trouble taking an old job plan and making it new. AI can probably help with that. So there's ways that it can help, and then like you said, there's also, well, like I said, there's also some scary factors of it. But
What I would love to see is if there's a way to make AI learn, but in an appropriate way where it knows how to get rid of garbage information that's not correct. I think that's
yeah,
the biggest challenge. Like for me, when I think about AI, is good stuff, right? Let's just make sure it learns the right stuff and doesn't go down, like it's like projects. You start a project, you skip a couple of steps, and you get 2-3 years down the line. Now you're just like shattered and got to start over. It's crazy. So next question.
yep.
What are the upcoming plans that you have when it comes to Eruditio and, getting on the road, conferences, anything like that that's on the
Yeah.
horizon? You shared a little bit about it already, where you're going to go on site and do
Mhm.
some mentoring, but
Yep.
anything else you can share?
Absolutely. So, of course, we have Eruditio has all of our public offering classes, our IBLs, our body of knowledge, SMRP, the CMRP, and we just started our CMRT. So we have those classes coming up between now and December. Actually, tomorrow, coming to our training facility is our reliability fundamentals overview. So, sort of a massive overview to get everybody, no matter what stage, what area you are in the facility. We have salespeople coming to this. We have reliability engineers, maintenance managers, techs. So just to get everybody on the same page, give them that overview, have them speaking the same language. So we have that
Yeah.
actually coming in tomorrow. So I'm excited to meet some new people, put some faces to some names that I've been emailing. So I always love that part. That's exciting to me when I go to shake somebody's hand. They're like, Katie. And I'm like, you.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So that's always good. But me personally, I am going to be home for a little while here in the office doing a lot of fun stuff, visiting some two facilities in July. So I'm excited for that. Um, one with the women in manufacturing, one to branch out through Eruditio to help bring somebody to women in manufacturing, tour their facility as well. And then September, I'm going to be going to Mississippi State University for a class that we're putting on there. So that'll be exciting for me. We're going to see some old clients, some new clients there. I've never been to Mississippi, so that's another check off the box for me. And then, like I said earlier, in October, I'm going to be at the SMRP conference in Orlando. And there's a few smaller South Carolina specific manufacturing events sprinkled in between here and there that I'll be popping in and out of too.
Yeah. Towards the end of the year, it goes into a little bit of a slowdown, and
Yeah.
then getting up to around March of the subsequent year, ramps
Yeah.
up
Like
again.
March to October, it's just poop poop nonstop.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's where a lot of things happen. And depending on where you are in this industry of maintenance and reliability or related, right? Because there's a lot of things that kind of swim around in there.
Yep.
The conferences and going to these trade shows, whether you're going to learn or you're going to present, you're going to exhibit, maybe you're going to give a learning session, a lot of really good stuff happens there.
Absolutely.
And I think for me, I'm a fan of it. It's just hard to go to all of them, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I have to be very selective. And but I think all the stuff that you're doing is great. I want to do the fun question segment on
All
CMMS
right.
Radio for you, Katie, because you're your first time on the podcast.
Yep.
We don't count like the sound bites and stuff. This is like your official episode. So first fun question is, what is your favorite music?
Metal music.
All right. All right.
For
I
sure.
saw that coming, but you know,
Yeah, you did.
I still had to ask. I kind of like that stuff too. Next fun question is, what is your favorite sport or hobby? And in the case of a sport, it doesn't have to be one that you actually do. It could be one that you like to watch and support. So you can answer both. You can answer 3 different things in there. Whatever you want to do, go.
You opened a can of worms with that one.
Bring it.
Well, I'm a soccer mom, so got to shout out to that. My son does travel soccer, so I'm always everywhere for that. I am a swimmer, so of course I love that. I grew up, my family had season Giants tickets, so I've been going Sunday Giants games since I was 3 years old. So I do live, oh man, yikes.
You feel my pain, right?
Yeah. I do.
Right,
I feel your
carry
pain
on.
with that one. So I've been a Giants fan for a while, and yeah, it's always a heartbreak with that one, but it is what it is. And then a favorite hobby? Well, I don't know if you've heard this, but I have chickens.
I heard a little something, but I didn't want to bring it up unless you
I
did
love my
because
chickens. I have 14 chickens. So I have one rooster, 10 laying hens, and no, one rooster, 9 laying hens, and 4 chicks that I'm bringing up currently. So that's my
did you
hobby.
know I have a chicken?
A real chicken.
Well, I mean,
I saw that chicken.
I brought that in just for you. I
saw it the second I sat down too.
Yeah, I thought you were going to bring up chickens. And then there was one hobby I thought you were going to bring up. You've been working on it lately. You've been practicing.
Which one?
It's kind of like a sport hobby all rolled up into one.
Which one?
With the disc.
Oh, my disc golf.
There it is.
I don't know why I didn't bring that up. Yeah, I'm an avid disc golfer. I have a bag of maybe 30 discs. So I'm a forehand thrower. My backhand, it's fine, but I love it. And I've hit up, I usually bring my bag with me everywhere I go. Did not bring it to Schaumburg or Chicago. But I've played almost everywhere in South Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia. So I like to hit some courses wherever I go.
That's cool. That's cool stuff. And I've got friends that do it. I've never done it. I don't think I'm gonna, but I still thought it was awesome when you were explaining it to me and how you're always working on it. And that's one of those things that, you know, when you got the time and you can go and do it, that's really gonna feed your energy stores.
Oh yeah.
And keep you going with all the other stuff, keeping up with the kids and club sports and all that craziness. So here's the big one on the fun questions. No wrong answers. Okay. What is your philosophy, perspective, or even opinion on work-life balance?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I literally knew you were going to ask me that. For me, I'm lucky to work for Eruditio, and Sean specifically, because he really cares for his employees. I'll have days where I'm totally fine, but I got a kid that's sick over here, or car broke down over there, and I'm trying to figure out how to juggle all this, and I'll just be like, I gotta work from home today. Like I just can't. And he's like, all right, yeah, absolutely, work from home, just be on the meetings, work from home, you know, and as long as you show that you're here for the company when the company needs you, then the company is there for you. And my work-life balance currently is pristine. I absolutely love it. It's it's wonderful. I have my time off. I have my time with my kids. I have my sick time. I have my floating holidays that I love. I have time in the office. And even if like tomorrow we have clients coming into town, I'm going to be going out late with them to do a tour, to do dinner. Maybe I come in a little bit later so I don't have to do these 15-hour days. And he is incredibly respectful when it comes to that work-life balance aspect. And that's one of the reasons I really love this company.
Yeah. And I think it's really not just great that you work there, but you work with a team that, you know, I talk about getting it, you know, people that get it, and that's how life really unfolds. But again, the reason I say there's no wrong answers when I ask somebody a question like that is how you do it, whether it's right or wrong doesn't matter. It gets people thinking. It might present an idea that resonates with someone, and it also might let them know that, wow, it really is possible to do all this stuff and feel like your life is pretty balanced, because you do a lot. And we've talked about a hell of a lot more off mic, and you are very busy. So first of all, I want to thank you for finally being on CMMS radio with me and sharing at least this little glimpse into your story and your journey. And I think, you know, a lot of people are watching with both admiration and respect as you continue to grow in the industry and learn even more from the learning sessions that you sit in on, the people that you get to talk to at these booths. And I'm always excited when we get to bump into each other just to talk about all manner of things around this great industry. It's filled with great people trying to do great stuff. So thank you, Katie.
Thanks, Greg. It was awesome.
Did you find this episode helpful? Please send us some feedback, suggest a topic, or ask a question. Reach out to CMMS Radio if you need a co-pilot on your CMMS project. Visit CMMSradio.com and use the What's on Your Mind link. Thank you for tuning in to CMMS Radio, your resource for all things CMMS, from selection to implementation, to help you make better choices, learn from industry experts, and have a successful CMMS journey.